Today I'm going to be talking to you about change. I think we've been hearing a lot about change today, and my topic of change is about space, how we think about, how we interact, and how we engage with spaces. This is a hotel. Essentially, it's a box in which we have a number of defined experiences. In fact, in that box, there are a number of smaller boxes. There's the lobby where you check in, there's the room where you sleep, and the restaurant where you eat. Just as we shop in a supermarket, we drink coffee in a cafe, we work out in a gym, and we go to work in an office. All of these spaces, until very recently, had a singular or primary function. But times have changed. If COVID has taught us anything, it's the irrelevance of single-use spaces. What we've learned during the last 2 years of very difficult and arduous lockdowns is that we can do a lot of things in one place. From the comforts of our home or otherwise, we can work, we can shop, we can eat and entertain, our kids can study, and we can work out. If COVID has taught us anything, it's the irrelevance of single-use spaces. We can do all these things from anywhere in the world in one place. Welcome to Hybrid Lives. Nope, this is not the name for a new series on Netflix. This is real. This is happening now. This is where doing one thing in one place is no longer productive, meaningful, or relevant. But what do we mean by hybrid? In an article recently in the Times newspaper, the famed hotelier Ian Schrager talked about the idea of mini vertical cities. It was a fascinating article. The idea that in one building, you can go downstairs to work, you can go back upstairs to where you live. In this one space, in this one apartment, in this one building, you have everything you need from business to leisure and entertainment. He said that's the future, and I think he's right. We've defined hybrid as two different types of spaces. The first is the obvious, a physical space with multiple purposes. So take, for example, a hotel lobby with a co-working element, or maybe a student accommodation building that during the summer months becomes a holiday rental. But there's also the second type of hybrid space, the one that merges the real world with the digital or the virtual world. Imagine a gym using VR goggles that transports your running experience to somewhere more exotic in the world. The solution seems simple, right? Take your traditional single-use space, add another feature, and you created something hybrid. But no, it's not that easy. You can't just simply take a bookstore and add a cafe. You can't simply just take a hotel lobby and add a flower shop. This is not a tick box exercise. This is a jumping out of the box exercise. In fact, I urge you to tear down the walls of that box and get rid of it altogether. When we think about hybrid spaces, we believe there are 3 critical things to consider: culture, connection, and community. And we'll go through those one by one. Culture is about the values and the behaviors that bind our society together. It defines our identity. It makes us who we are. But for so long, hotels have behaved like towering islands in the midst of cities, very much aliens to their neighborhoods. They may be a welcoming haven to the visiting outsider, but what do they offer to the culture and the community that surrounds them? Times are changing, and hotels, thankfully, are now having more foresight and realizing that they need to start engaging and connecting with their local communities. And the same is true when we think about hybrid spaces. If you're trying to conceive a hybrid space, the first thing I urge you to do is open your eyes. Step outside and look around. What's going on in your neighborhood? What's missing from the culture? What does the community need? What could they benefit from? And how can we match those needs, those local needs, with your business goals? The Samsen Street Hotel here in Thailand is a great example, a former love motel that was converted into an interesting boutique concept that left a large area of space at the front of the hotel open. It became like a public square where local vendors from the street came in and plied their business, and the guests and the street vendors could interact together seamlessly. They listened to the community, they looked in the stories around them, and they saw an opportunity and identified a need. The second is about connection. I think we all know how important human connection is in our lives and how much we've missed it in the last 2 years. Hans Meyer, the founder of Zoku, one of the first and most interesting hybrid hospitality spaces out there, recognized this some years ago when he was forming the brand. And he went around the world studying digital nomads and looking at what was missing. And he realized a lot of what was the problems with their lives was isolation, was loneliness, was that lack of connection. When he conceived Zoku, he thought about how to create connections, how to bring people together in spaces. Another example here in Thailand, Dot Club and Pub is a cinema come event space come restaurant. The founder saw an opportunity. He recognized in the local community that there was a need for something more than simply a cinema that sold popcorn. And he brought a number of different experiences together in one hybrid space. Not only did it work in terms of bringing a community, it also was a much better business proposition in the long run. Finally, community. Sometimes a community forms naturally, organically, if you get your culture and your connection parts right. Sometimes we need to try a bit harder. The founder of Gravity Co-Living Spaces in the UK, Riccardo Tresara, has talked about how he needed to actually organize events and activities to form that community amongst his guests. Sometimes you really have to put some effort into the programming of your experiences to bring that community and initiate those connections. And we mustn't forget the second definition of hybrid, that merging of the physical and the virtual. We're starting to see some great examples here in Thailand. This bar on Soi 31 in Sukhumvit uses projection technology to immerse guests in another world. But this is just the start. The Metaverse is here, and it is huge, and it will change everything. This is Web 3.0. Everything we know today, every experience we have in the tangible world is being transferred and reimagined in the Metaverse, and soon that will include hotels. So if I leave with one important message, it's that this is not a hotel anymore. A single box with singular purposes is not a hotel. Because hybrid is here to stay, please don't get left behind. Thank you.